Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your NXT Takeover 31 preview and predictions. We've got our 5 matches as per usual, and 4 of them are championship matches. The 5th one is just a completely unnecessary match featuring somebody that doesn't deserve a platform in the first place. So I figured we could start with that one. But before we get into anything, we always like to talk about hype levels. John, what is your hype level for this show?
I mean, I'm kind of mad about this takeover, and to be honest, that even extends to the world title match. I like Kyle, I like Finn, and I'm happy for Kyle, but I would have been far crazier about Cameron Grimes, who's like my favorite NXT act. To be quite honest, the Cruiserweight Championship match is the most hyped I am for this whole show.
Yeah.
Like, easily, far and away. But to be charitable to the other matches, because I don't think they're going to be garbage, except maybe the first one, because there's a little garbage competing in it.
Yeah.
I got to be truthful. I feel like I'm at a 7 out of 10.
Dude, same! I was going to say the exact same thing. Yeah, we're both at a 7.
I was kind of feeling 6.5, to be honest, but I could see myself going up that little notch and just being an even 7. Yeah.
Fucking ESPN right here, because as you were talking about it, I was like 6.5 or 7, 6.5 or 7, and then you mentioned O'Reilly Bálor, and then you mentioned Santos versus Swerve, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'm stuck at a 7.
Yeah, and like, I just want to make the point, though, man, not to drag this commentary out any longer than it needs to be, because I actually feel like it'll be relatively quick, at least on my end of things. A 7 out of 10 for a takeover isn't good.
No.
Like we need to like just address that takeover has had a rich tradition of really delivering and making great moments. And I'm not saying this won't be a fun takeover. Maybe I'll be surprised. I want to keep an open mind. But just me going into it, feeling this low in excitement, and I may even be generous, because looking at our chat, I mean, Sheevan's at a 6 out of 10. Mark, though, is notable. He's only at a 4.5. And I don't know if that's, I'm assuming, again, that that's out of 10 and not out of 5. So, you know, like, it's very telling that even if
a score out of 10 is low when you have to start questioning whether it's actually out of 10 or if it's out of 5.
Yeah. But yeah, just to wrap up my train of thought, you know, like it'll be one thing if they go out on Sunday and, you know, they do the thing and it's like, wow, that was really fun. But TakeOver is usually so good on selling itself that that's just the cherry on top of the Sunday, where the Sunday really is just our hype, just our thinking. It's TakeOver weekend. It was something to look forward to and anticipate. I'm not saying, like, it's been going on for so long that it hasn't been that way, but I don't like that it's happening at all, period, because this could very easily be a new precedent, given how we've been feeling about the product as of late. So, just wanted to go on that little preamble there, but I'm ready to get into these matches and just talk about them, so let's do it.
All right, well, I think you already know the one match that we're going to open with. Get it out of the way. It's not even on the background because I didn't feel like one of the people in it deserved to be featured on our channel. Dream versus Kushida. Kushida's better win, but he probably won't, so I'm picking Dream.
Just because I'm stubborn, I guess, I'll go with Kushida. Although, see, I never know, because they did the inside look at Kushida, and he's like, oh, you know, I won a championship opportunity, injury set me back. And they could maybe really push Kushida here. Maybe Velveteen would be his legitimizer, like, oh, I beat this guy who's a former North American champion and is contended for the NXT title. So I think for that reason, to give a little bit of a rational basis for my hatred, I'll just go with Kushida and fuck the piece of trash. So,
nice. Next. I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right. Yeah, so now we can start talking about the matches that we care about, and we're basically going to bookend the group of matches that we actually care about, to some degree, with the 2 matches that we're the most excited about, starting with the one that I know you're the most excited about, Swerve challenging Escobar for the Cruiserweight Championship.
Coming from the perspective of somebody that doesn't watch 205 Live, these 2 have done wonders for the Cruiserweight division to really make it feel like it matters. And again, I admitted my ignorance, so somebody could come in and be like, well, actually, John, as somebody that has been watching 205 Live, these acts have been doing that before these guys even feuded. And fair. But as a really casual guy when it comes to WWE's Cruiserweight work, I am immensely proud of these 2 guys. I think they've told an amazing story. Swerve is a likable, fiery, believable babyface, and Escobar is a heel that, you know, if we weren't so smart to the business, he'd probably get under our skin, you know, using lucha culture and acting like he's this staunch defender of it, and yet appropriating it for his own cheaty ends as a heel. You know, the mask loaded with courage, say. I think it's been
lucha
fantastic.
tradition.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And so I was just kind of laughing too because Foster's kind of playing along. But yeah, I think Escobar's been an amazing champion. I'm actually a bit torn on this because they really have told the story that all things being equal, Swerve is the better wrestler. And I feel like when you're at a big event like a Takeover, that's the story you usually tell in babyface matches like this. So I'm actually going to go with Swerve winning the championship, but I would not be surprised if Escobar retained.
Were there 2 War Games matches on last year's War Games Takeover?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to predict Escobar to retain here as well, but I think he's going to do it by cheating, and I think it's going to lead to a Cruiserweight War Games match. Team Escobar versus Team Swerve.
Interesting. I just want to reiterate, because you said as well, so I want to make sure you understand me. I did pick Swerve to win the title. So I want you to know that's not a shared prediction between you and I. I think Swerve.
No, I actually, I don't know what I said that led you to think that I thought you picked Escobar too, but I know I don't. I was aware. I knew that you picked Swerve to win, but I'm just saying, like, I think Escobar's going to retain here because I think that we've got to kind of continue the feud, and I think that Escobar retaining via cheating means is probably the best way to do that. And I think that, yeah, it's going to lead to, and because again, we've got to remember the War Games, assuming it happens, I can't imagine it not happening, but it very well might not happen given how, weirdly spaced out takeovers have been now. Assuming War Games does happen, though, I think that we're going to get one big War Games involving a certain someone that we'll talk about later. And then this War Games is going to be like the fucking sideshow almost. It's going to be like the fucking acrobats of the circus, doing crazy shit in the cage. Because it's going to be all cruiserweights in there. It's going to be, I'm going to guess it's going to be like Santos, Raul, Joaquin, and then maybe like a Tony Nese or something like that. And then on the other side, it's going to be like Swerve and 3 other crazy awesome fucking, I don't even know who anymore. Maybe Jake Atlas on that side, I don't know. Probably Drake Maverick, unfortunately. But you get the idea. It'll be a War Games of all cruiserweights, and it'll be Team Swerve versus Team Escobar.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I actually like your mindset there.
All right, then let's get into our North American Championship match. Damian Priest defending against Johnny Gargano. I got to tell you straight up, man, I'm really concerned about this.
I'm not. I think Priest is retaining. I honestly feel like they've used Johnny Gargano as a fixture in the NXT North American Championship picture to just make other people in that division look good. In fact, I wouldn't even be surprised if these 2 got called up. Because it's so weird that they're only now doing
That's kind of my concern,
thing.
though, is that I don't think Vince has any interest in the Garganos on the main roster. But Priest and Io, though, I could very easily see Vince wanting on the main roster, which is why I'm worried about both of them. Because the fact that both Garganos are getting title shots on this show gives me a real cause for concern that Vince is like, okay, we can have those 2 hold the titles, and Triple H is just like, yeah, we'll do the power couple thing. They're a heel. It can work. But then Priest and Io get called up.
And that is possible. I'm not going to, dismiss your concerns out of hand. I just don't share them personally.
Right.
Priest just won the championship a little bit ago, which it's not unheard of for NXT to have a newly minted champion drop the belt so quickly because of a call-up. Triple H has even, I think, acknowledged such phenomenon in conference calls. Like, you have this whole plan for an NXT guy, and then Vince is like, hey, I want him, kid. And it's like, oh, well, shit. We had all these stories planned. So, did Vince make that call? I guess we'll find out Sunday. But something just tells me I don't think he did. But then again, though, the draft is like the Raw after this takeover.
No, it's the SmackDown after this takeover.
Oh wait, the draft doesn't begin next Monday. I thought it did.
No, the draft begins next Friday and leads into the following Monday.
Oh wow. Either way, look, it doesn't matter because either way, it is after Takeover.
Yeah, but that's kind of my point, though, is that it's going to be like call-up season, and I'm really worried that Priest and Io are going to be 2 of the call-ups.
And again, I think that's a legitimate concern, but I'm not going to waver just because I don't fully share it. So I am going to stand by my pick and say that I think Priest is going to retain.
I hope you're right, but I'm picking Gargano, man. I can't shake that feeling of mine, and I'm just going to stand by my guns, and I'm glad that neither one of us is convincing the other. Although, then again, with my current G1 record, I'm probably wrong here. So, let's Let's get into our next match, which is Candice Io, and I guess I kind of spoiled it already. I think Candice is winning this. I think she's going to cheat her ass off in order to do it, but I think Candice is going to win the title from Io. I think Io and Priest are both going to get called up. They might both get rematches for their respective titles on an episode of NXT TV in the next few weeks, lose them somehow, and then be main roster fixtures going forward.
Yeah, again, I understand that concern. Actually, if you really wanted to sell me, this is the match to do it on more so than the North American Championship match, because Shotzi's still building momentum. She beat Dakota recently.
Yeah.
And, if you wanted to give Shotzi a big takeover moment with a title win, NXT might have it in mind of, well, let's give her like a really solid heel to do it with, rather than a really competitive Io who's one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Yep.
She gives Shotzi like the nod, like this is your division now.
And hell, dude, for all we know, the reason that they did Shotzi versus Io on NXT TV and the timing that they did it was because they knew they weren't going to have Io long enough to have that match on a takeover. So they wanted to get it in the meantime so that they could really make Tegan or make Shotzi look like a star before Io left.
Yeah. Now, see, again, I think there's a lot of logic to what you're saying, but I think the precarity in every preview that we do is that fine line between logic and overthinking it. Yep. And it's a really fine line for the record.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm picking up everything you're laying down. I'm not in the spirit of sharing that. Really, I think another question we have to introduce, too, especially for these final two matches, is when does 10-4-2020 reveal themselves? Is it this match or is it the main event match? Now, I'm inclined to think the main event because I think that's how you end a takeover. Is, oh my God, this person's returned and they've made a statement. Kind of like when Adam Cole debuted or this person debuted or Ciampa turned heel. So I don't think it's going to be here. I do think, and plus, no offense to Kyle. Again, I like Kyle, but they're only just now building him up. He's not like this really huge name in NXT, even though he's a part of a huge faction. So I think you're going to want to go that extra mile to be like, oh, and we got this person now. So I think this match will be relatively clean is my point. We'll cut away when whoever is celebrating is celebrating. I'm going to go with Io retaining.
Oh, God. And see, everything you're talking about, I think that the 410 or the 10-4 return is going to be a woman. I think it's going to be Ember Moon. And you can call that wishful thinking. That's a perfectly reasonable thing to call it. But I think it's going to be Ember Moon, and she was always a babyface in NXT, so wouldn't it make sense for her to be a heel on her return, right? Because that's kind of how they've been doing it. Is if you were in NXT and then you went to the main roster for a while and came back to NXT, you got to do something different, right?
Right.
So Ember returning as a heel and costing Io the title could even be really interesting in and of itself. So I'm just going to stick by Candice. I'm not happy about it, but I think the Garganos are going to go on a little bit of a power trip. But now let's talk about our main event, because you already said that you think that 10-4 debut is going to be here, so I want you to talk about it first, because you kind of spoiled that already.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, don't apologize. I'm happy about it, because I feel like I've been going first a lot anyway, man. Feel free.
But yeah, I'll keep it succinct, honestly. I have nothing much to say. I think it'll be a great work rate matchup. I think we'll see Kyle, to use a Javaris phrase, be in his bag, do all the best stuff that we know Kyle can do, from submissions to suplexes to everything, kind of like what we saw in that highlight video. I think, though, Finn is such a protected performer. I'm committed, maybe not to the same level as Javaris, because Javaris painted a brilliant picture of how he would do this, which is exactly why I think NXT won't do it. But I do think he'll drop the title to Cross. Am I committed to a Demon Finn versus Karrion Kross rematch? No, but if that happens, that's, again, brilliant storytelling. I do think Finn returns here. And, again, I might be the only person really happy about it. I think the vignette is going to be Bo Dallas. And if that's true, I'm fucking happy for the dude. I think people forget, what a great character he can be, a lot like his brother Bray. Maybe not to the same degree. I mean, that's a matter of debate. But I think a Bo Dallas-Finn Balor feud, I'm not going to dismiss that out of hand. And plus, he's been gone a long time if it is Bo. Who knows what tricks he's picked up, what shape he's been in. Maybe it'll be a case of, another Juice Robinson, where, holy shit, this dude's, completely taking it to another level. Or, on the other hand, it could not be Bo. All of this conjecture would have been pointless, and it would have been somebody else. Hell, Ashton could be right that it was Ember. But, again, my logic isn't even so much about who it is, but just how NXT produces things. And I feel like, I would say 8 times out of 10, when you have title matches like this, where again, Kyle, he's there, but he's not. He's part of the big faction, but he's only just now starting to come into his own. You know, he's going to lose. It'll be a great outing, but that's not how you end a show. You always want more show. Feel like the debut will come out, maybe even lay out Kyle. Maybe the crowd's giving him a standing ovation or something, and they lay him out, or they just lay out Finn and they hold up the title because they really are fixated on the championship. So I think that makes even more sense. And so the 10-4 mystery person is who closes Takeover. So, yeah, Finn retains, but he gets laid flat on his back by whoever is returning. That's my prediction.
I am literally the opposite on everything about this match than you. Because, well, actually, that's not true. I also think that Finn is retaining, but because I don't expect 10-4 to be here, I think it's going to be earlier on the show. And believe it or not, I actually love what Javaris said in the chat. He said that he thinks that 10-4 happens for the North American title. If it is Bo, I feel like right now in NXT, the North American title picture is a lot more fitting for him than the world title picture. So I think that Bo returning would make a lot more sense in the North American title scene than it would in the world title scene. And if it's not him, it's Ember, which is going to be the women's scene. Regardless, though, Adam Cole is fucking Kyle O'Reilly over and making him lose this match. And we are getting a Team Adam versus Team Kyle War Games match this year. That's the second War Games match. The first one is Team Swerve versus Team Escobar. The second one is Team O'Reilly versus Team Cole. I'm calling it right now. We're a month and a half out. I'm laying my cards on the table. I fully expect that War Games match to be a thing.
Normally, just to move things right along, I would just be like, okay, sounds good, but I need to challenge this here, and I don't do this often. I don't think that makes any sense, at least as far as 10-4 goes, because in the vignettes, I don't even remember the North American Championship being pictured. It was only the world title and the women's title to throw up the ambiguity. So I feel like that runs contrary to the vignettes narrative for him to show up in the Priest-Gargano matchup. That's just me. As far as Adam Cole turning heel, I am more sympathetic to that, and you know that for a fact because I even messaged you on Facebook that that's what I was thinking about, which I wanted to save it for here. And then Javaris was like, hey, man, wouldn't it be funny if Adam Cole turned on Kyle O'Reilly? And I'm like, God damn it, Javaris. But, yeah, that I'm more sympathetic to, but I don't know. Like, because you had Cole too sweet Bálor, and then you had him stand up to Kyle against Austin Theory, and then scream to the camera like, you know, I won't be surprised when Kyle does it because I know how good he is and this and that. And yeah, like I even said in the Facebook message to you, it really seems like they're going beat for beat with ROH when Kyle had his big world title match against Jay Lethal and Cole screwed him over. But I think the difference here is because it's just so new for both of them. Really, the funny thing is, if there is going to be like a heel schism in Undisputed Era, if there's going to be like a dominant heel side and a face side, the face side seems like it's going to be Cole and O'Reilly, and the heel side is going to be Strong and Fish. Now, I don't know how they're going to reconcile that, because keep in mind, Strong and Fish are still doing that bullshit with Drake Maverick and Killian Dane, which I hate. I think that's honestly one of my least favorite storylines going right now. But I think they're going to stick with Kyle and Adam, both being faces for the foreseeable future. I don't know exactly how to denote foreseeable, whether it's going to be 2 or 3 months or
dude, something just felt off about the Adam Cole promo on Wednesday. I kept getting the vibe that he was going to be going heel again.
And dude, again, I understand that because keep in mind, I was the guy when they were doing the whole Pat McAfee thing that I was pretty much like my conspiracy theorist, right, drawing these diagrams like Ashton, you know, Cole cost O'Reilly and Fish the tag titles, and they're going to be pissed at Cole and they're going to turn on him. There's definitely reasons there. So I'm sympathetic. I just feel like NXT doesn't want to adhere to those reasons right now.
Yeah, that was actually another big thing that was kind of swirling around in my brain is what if, say, for example, O'Reilly and Fish come out looking like they're going to help Kyle, or not O'Reilly, Strong and Fish come out looking like they're going to help Kyle, but they end up screwing him, and then Adam comes out and tries to stop them, and it sets up for an Adam and Kyle versus O'Reilly versus Strong and Fish match in the future, and maybe even a War Games with 2 other people. Because like I'm with you as far as hating that Priest or God, I'm getting names wrong today. Dane and Maverick are involved at all with these guys. I hate that they're a team. I hate that they're on TV ever. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we got Adam, Kyle, and those 2 guys, you know, Dane and Maverick. I keep forgetting Killian Dane's name. He's so fucking forgettable. Can you please just get off my TV? But those 4 guys against, like, you know, Strong, Fish, and 2 other heels. I could see that being a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there are definitely possibilities at play. Undisputed Era is so weird to me, man, in NXT, and I'm not, like, saying that in a negative way, right? That's not a critique of me saying, like, I'm tired of UE, although I'm guessing there are people in our chat that probably are. It's just, I didn't expect them to be in the system this long, and I certainly didn't expect only half of the group to be face while the other group half is committed to being heel. Like, I thought if it was going to be a face turn, it would be a wholesale turn. You know what I mean? Like the whole faction doing it together. And it just seems like their own, kind of in their own individuated stories. Cole, honestly, seems to be the most directionless, although I guess Fish and Strong, I don't know if they're still doing the Maverick Dane stuff, because I'm guessing Dane will
Well, no, you got to
done.
remember, Fish and Strong are going to be facing Team 1-2 for a shot at the tag titles.
That's right, when Fish gets better, because I know he's dealing with that minor knee injury, but I don't know if it'll, how long it's going to keep him out. So yeah, they've got a tag title story. So Adam really seems to be the only one that's kind of narratively directionless since losing to Finn. So, and I would say that gives you ammunition for your ideas. So I would give you that point on the board. I don't know, man. NXT and UE, it's a weird dynamic.
I want to kind of change subjects a little bit here. A lot of people in chat are saying that they feel like there's going to be a women's war games again this year, when there's only really precedent. One of those has happened in history, and we've had 3 or 4 war games takeovers already. So what I really want to ask you, John, because maybe you can help me see something that I'm not seeing, is there currently a story in the women's division that would make sense to blow off in a war games match?
I mean, dude, here's the thing. You said makes sense. So holding tight to that term specifically, I would say no. Could I see,
well, yeah, because at least last year we had literally everybody being sick of Shayna Baszler's shit.
Right. Could I see, though, them kind of crowbarring a women's war game? Because women's war games that I could see, and again, I cannot stress enough that this is crowbarred. I'm not saying this makes sense. I could see them crowbarring maybe Rhea versus Dakota war games as kind of a full circle thing, because Dakota turned heel on Rhea's team last year.
Right.
And you see now Rhea mixing it up with Raquel.
So if we do that, we get Rhea, Raquel, and maybe Candice versus, or not Rhea, Dakota. Dakota, Raquel, and maybe Candice. But then who's on Rhea's team at that point? Is Io still in NXT by then? Is she on Rhea's team? I mean, Tegan just fucking tore her ACL. Can't be her.
Shotzi, I think
would make sense. And so we're gonna do a 3-on-3 war games.
Maybe. Isn't it usually 4-on-4, or is it 5-on-5 even? I think it's usually 4-on-4 though. Isn't it?
It's usually 4-on-4. It was 4-on-4 last year for the women.
So yeah, I don't know, because dude,
I know the one time we had the weird 3-on-3-on-3.
See, it would be such a weird dynamic, too, because if you really wanted to pad it out, your fourth woman could maybe be a newly turned, like Xia Li or something, and then the fourth on the other one would be either Casey or Kaden.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. I just want to make clear I don't like that. I'm just saying if you wanted to pad it out, I could see that. But again, all of this is to say, because you said, like, a sensible story, a story that makes sense, a story that, like, deserves that spot on that merit. I don't see any sensible women's story. Unless Io would turn heel again, which I don't even want. I'm kind of liking the vibe that Io has right now.
Plus, was the again, I can't shake the lingering feeling that Io and Priest are going to get called up for the draft.
Right. Yeah, man. Wow, this takeover is really a mess of things, huh? Because you might be right, man. You might be right, and that's really
I think the most frustrating thing, though, isn't just this takeover. It's that the positioning of this takeover, we're literally, I think, 6 or 7 weeks away from Takeover War Games. So my question then becomes, are we even going to have a Takeover War Games this year, or are they going to intentionally try and stagger out takeovers so that they don't take place on the same weekends as pay-per-views anymore?
Oh, yeah. I don't know, man.
Yeah. None of us do. That's the problem. It's I feel like NXT is changing a lot of shit and not telling anybody that they're going to do it ahead of time, and then not telling anybody why they're doing it in the first place.
Yeah, it's really annoying, because I feel like I can't even get my finger on the pulse, because we're talking
about
all
the while
this
they're
stuff now.
Platforming a Predator. You can't forget that either.
Oh, yeah. Because like it's not making me doubt any of my predictions or the course of things as I foresee them, but it doesn't make it any less frustrating. Like, I just feel like I don't have my finger on the pulse with them at all, and I'm just trusting my instincts, really. So
at the end of the day, though, I mean, reasoning be damned, we are both picking Bálor to retain.
Yes.
At the end of the day, that's like our final prediction is Finn Bálor retains across the board. So I think that's actually the only match on this entire show that we agreed on, too. Because I picked Escobar to retain, you picked Swerve to win the Cruiserweight title. I picked Candice and Johnny to win the titles off of Io and Priest. You picked Io and Priest to retain. And then I picked Dream to win basically out of spite. And you picked Kushida to win out of like logic, basically, that I'm just ignoring. So the only match that we do truly agree on is the match that we have the most dissent as far as the reasoning behind agreeing on it. It's kind of hilarious, actually.
Yeah, we arrive at the same conclusion. It's just like, we just
it's weird that the match that we agree on the result of is arguably the match that we overall disagree on the most.
Yeah.
Because at least for all the other ones, we could both see each other's logic for why this is going to happen. For this one, though, we're just and it's probably mostly my fault because I'm making things up that haven't really happened yet. That I'm really just kind of trying to read between the lines, reading the tea leaves. That, could be egregious on my part. And if it is, then I'll own it. I'll be like, well, I guess I was wrong. Oh, well. But at the end of the day, I just can't shake a couple feelings. And it's really two big feelings that I can't shake. The one big feeling that I can't shake is that Vince wants Io and Priest for the main roster, and we're going to get a Gargano power run, basically, as a couple. And the other feeling that I can't shake is that Adam is going to do some fuck shit and cost Kyle the match. And really, it's either going to be that or the other two members of Undisputed Era are going to cost Kyle the match, and Adam's going to try and defend him. So to me, we're either going to get Adam versus Kyle or Adam and Kyle teaming up to take on the other two members of UE. And I just can't. I don't know why, but I feel like those two things are inevitable. I almost feel like I have to talk to a bunch of people that I respect to just convince me, like, no, you're stupid. That's terrible. That's never going to happen. But, like, so far, I just feel like I don't know. Nobody's really giving me any reasons as to why I can't, as to why it's not likely to happen. I just feel like people are just saying, oh, you're making things up. There's no way. But I'm just like, wait a minute now. Making things up is kind of a lot of what we do.
I mean, it is, and that's why, like, again, I didn't want to dismiss it out of hand, and I don't think that I have. I think we've been able to really let our thoughts breathe. I just feel
like there's a lot of hostility coming from chat when I say things like, oh, Undisputed Era, Civil War games, and that there are no women's stories right now that really feel like they deserve a War Games match, whereas there was last year. I'm getting a lot of hostility from those two statements, and I'm not necessarily trying to say anything negative or anything. I literally just like right now at this time last year, I was literally saying there's going to be a women's War Games match this year. I was calling it months ahead of time because I felt like it was being delivered face first to us. But now there's nothing in the women's division that feels like, oh, that screams War Games like it did last year. Because last year we had Io versus Bianca, we had Shayna versus the fucking world. Like, there was a lot going on last year that really felt like, okay, the women are getting a War Games match this year, and there's nothing this year that feels like that at all. And
and I would agree with you there.
And last year was also the only example of a women's War Games match that we've ever had at War Games. So you can't really blame me on this.
No, and I certainly don't personally. I think another thing for me, man, and just kind of circle back to my whole feelings on this, I think I'm more just, I wouldn't say burned out or discomforted. I'm just kind of there with the fact that UE is still in NXT. Like, I really felt like they would have been called up forever ago. I thought we would have already been through, if not currently in, an Adam Cole versus Drew McIntyre feud for the world title. The idea that these guys are still holding down NXT, especially with Finn back too, because it would be one thing before Finn kind of returned, but Finn's pretty much resumed his role that he had before he came up for the main roster the first time years ago, as like, I'm the champion, I'm doing all the matches, I'm repping hard the brand, whatever.
The face of NXT.
And so you think they could ease up and be like, okay, we got Finn here, whatever, but that just hasn't happened. And again, this is why I hate that NXT can't participate in drafts. because I wouldn't mind if you'd explicitly say, yeah, these guys are NXT lifers. Cool. Let them participate in the draft. Like, be really fucking compelling television. I hate that they won't take those leaps to the NXT. It really bothers me.
It's frustrating, yeah. Like, they'll let NXT participate in Survivor Series, but they won't let them participate in the draft.
Yeah. Just, I hate it. Thanks, I hate it.
Silly bullshit, yeah.
Yeah. So that's really all I have to say, man, without getting redundant or, like, causing a circle jerk. This is a case where, honestly, I looked at this as kind of a utility prediction. I just want to check the boxes who I think is going to win. I didn't expect this to move my hype at all because...
You know, dude, you got to understand, too, when I saw the card for this, when the card was first finalized, it was the first time that I've ever looked at a TakeOver card and been like, you know what? I don't want to live react to this show.
I really don't either. Like, I've even, when thinking about, like, Dream versus Kushida... I'm just like, hey, you want to play Rocket League during that match or something? Because I don't want to give it my attention. I really don't care about this card, honestly. Like, and that's why I even thought giving it a 7 out of 10 was too generous. But you know what? I wanted to give proper respect both to Kyle and Finn, who I do genuinely enjoy, and Escobar and Swerve. Because I feel like those two guys have worked their asses off.
And my reasoning, too, was like, I'm stoked for those two matches, and especially, like you said, Swerve versus Escobar. But even like the Gargano, Priest, and Candice Io matches, I feel like those are still going to be good matches. I'm just not excited about them, but they're still going to be enjoyable to watch, which is what got me up from a 6.5 to a 7. Is just thinking like, you know, they're all good workers. It's not going to be a bad match. Whereas, you know, Dream Kushida might legitimately just not be an enjoyable match at all.
Yeah, exactly. And plus, you did yourself a favor kind of working out your logic for those two matches because there's going to be that added anticipation of, oh, God, are they dropping the titles and then getting called up to be ruined by Vince? Oh, God. Watching.
But you know what, though? I will say, you know, whichever one of those matches happened first, I'm personally going to feel like it spoils the second because if Johnny beats Priest, I'm going to be like, okay, well, that's it. Candice is beating Io. You know, it's spoiled for me now. Whereas if Priest retains, I'm going to be like, oh, okay, well, obviously they're not getting called up, so Io's going to retain now. I'm going to feel like it's spoiled either way. And I might even be wrong on that. One of them might drop, the other one might not. But in my mind, it's all or nothing.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from, bro. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. Oh, by the way, that was all to make the point that I'm still at a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
And again,
dude, low key, I think I'm down to a 6.5.
Yeah, you know what? I might just because that's how I'm really feeling inside. Like, I'm just so mad about this. I'm like, let's just get to the next episode of NXT, which at least now with them being 2 hours, you know it's going to be a legitimate episode of television and not just like a recap episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's just get to next Wednesday.
Baby. Gotta compete.
Yeah, always. God, I just wish that, you know, there was competition I actually cared about. God, Japanese wrestling is so wonderful. So yeah, that's really where I am with it. Please leave a like, guys, if you enjoyed it. I'm sorry if I killed the mood, because I know I've been a downer about this takeover, but yeah, I can't lie to you guys, and I'd rather not do that. So
you killed the mood. I'm the one that literally came on here and said publicly on the forum that we will be using to live react to the show to say I didn't want to live react to the show.
Well, you know what, brother? You and I are a package deal. If you're going to get rocks thrown at you, I'll stand in front of you and I'll take some too. But yeah, we apologize for killing the mood. But again, we'd rather be honest than, you know, deceitful. And NXT just, I think, really hasn't.
We'd rather be honest than toxically positive.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. So, yeah, guys, leave a like if you enjoyed it. I mean, it was under an hour at least, so we didn't take up too much of your time. That's something, right? And yeah, click the bell icon, subscribe so you never again miss any of that TwitWow goodness. And yeah, speaking of that TwitWow goodness, we're going to be fucking getting it tomorrow. We got Stardom live reactions.
So done.
Yeah, we're gonna be doing Stardom live reactions tomorrow at 5. Which update, Ashton? Because I don't know if you saw this, they did get the 7th match uploaded, and just to tell you guys how fucking crazy that match is gonna be, has an overall timestamp of 48 minutes.
Woo-wee!
Like, Jesus Christ. So
is that the QQ versus Marvelous match? No,
that's the double prelude match.
Oh my god!
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
I thought QQ versus Marvelous was the main event. I didn't realize that there was a 7th match on the show.
Yeah, well, that actually is kind of good news for us, pushing it back to tomorrow anyway, rather than thinking like, oh, you know.
Could you imagine if we would have gone live today at 6 and we would have tried to do it match by match, and then the actual main event would have gotten uploaded after we finished?
Along with complete show, which just tells me that is going to be uploaded now. Like, yeah,
Oh my god!
That's why more often than not, I do trust your instincts on these things and I don't challenge it. When you're like, hey, do you want to do this? Yeah, sure.
Wow. Dude, no, that just blew my mind, though. I'm so glad we pushed it back. Holy shit.
Yeah, you made the right call, brother. Good shit. Because that would have been...
That all being said, do you want me to finish us up here?
Yeah. So, I've already told you guys to like the video. If you haven't clicked the bell icon by now, if my velvety voice can't get you to do things, well, that's depressing. But, you know, it's there. And we'll see you tomorrow at 5 for Stardom, and then we'll see you at 10 for New Japan Strong. I don't know, you guys like Japanese wrestling too, right? It's the only thing keeping me happy with wrestling right now, knowing that the industry that I've loved for nearly 20 years is just populated with predators and creepos. But it's cool. It's cool, because some of them do drop kicks real good, so it's fine. And yeah, we'll see you guys at 5 tomorrow. I'm not bitter. And I'm going to hand it over to Asha to take us home.
That was one of my favorite things you've ever said in the history of this channel.
Yeah, there you go.
It's the industry full of creeps and predators, but some of them do drop kicks real good.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta compose myself because I gotta do our outro. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you all enjoyed this show. Wow, we didn't just live react to a show, we just did preview predictions. We hope that you enjoyed our preview predictions. We hope that you'll let us know what you think is going to happen on TakeOver 31 in the comments down below when this video gets fully processed. You can also like this video, subscribe to the channel, and follow us on Twitter and on Twitch. Click the bell icon on both this channel and on Twitch. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can support us by subscribing on Twitch, buying our merch on Teespring, donating to our Patreon, and sharing this channel and this video with all your wrestling fan friends and letting them in on the best kept secret in the YouTube and Twitch wrestling communities. That's right, we are TwitWow, and we are the workhorses of the Y&T WCs, and we will continue to grind it out and earn that moniker with our continued coverage of NXT and New Japan and Stardom and pay-per-views from WWE and AEW. We hope that you're all looking forward to Stardom live reactions tomorrow afternoon at 5 and New Japan Strong tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And then Sunday is NXT TakeOver 31, the show that we previewed here. We hope you're looking forward to our live reactions to that live on Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We are going to be doing New Japan, though. It is like G1 is just going to go crazy starting on Monday. We have got G1 this coming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. 6 of the 7 days starting on Monday will have G1 live reactions on them. And we've also got NXT on Wednesday, and we've got Stardom on Thursday, and we've got another episode of New Japan Strong on Friday, and we've got a WWE catch-up commentary next Saturday. So we have got an absolute ass ton of commentary coming your way over the course of the next 11 days, and we hope that you're all looking forward to it. And most importantly, we hope that you're all able to remember to stay tuned.